Today I want to ask the question that Brussels hopes you'll never ask. Does the European Union allow for real democracy? Spoiler alert, no. Who is the president of the European Commission? We know, because there are so many problems with that president. But in general, during years, we didn't know. Most Europeans still don't. And here's the really funny part. Even if you did know it, and even if you knew that person quite well, I'm sure you didn't vote for them, because we don't vote for the president of the European Commission. The Commission, the only EU body that can propose legislation that is very important for all of us, consists of 27 appointed commissioners, not elected, appointed. When the people said no, and Brussels said, try it again. Let me take you back to 2005, and I can take you back to last year in Romania. The European Constitution is put to vote in France and the Netherlands. The polls are clear. This is going to be close. EU mobilizes, celebrities endorse it. You're talking about televisions, they were all present there. Businesses supported it, but the people said no. France rejected it, 55%, Netherlands 61%. What did Brussels do? They said, try again. They did another referendum, they changed the name from Constitution to Lisbon Treaty, removed the flag and the symbolism, and then they came here to Ireland. And they said, hold the referendum in Ireland. The Irish said no, 53% rejection. So Brussels did again what Brussels knows best. They asked to vote again. After a massive campaign, the Irish dutifully voted yes. So that's democracy in Brussels' perspective.
Another issue that I think is perhaps one of our biggest barriers, and it's the issue of information, and in particular, misinformation. So we need to deal with that.
The vice president is vaccinated and boosted twice. She tested positive today for COVID.
Did the vaccine stop the spread of COVID-19?
No.
The vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, as well as the Pfizer vaccine, is about 94 to 95% efficacious in preventing clinical disease and almost 100% efficacious in preventing serious disease. So the data are rock solid.
There's never been a prospective, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial ever showing that COVID-19 vaccines reduce mortality or hospitalization. There's not even a valid non-randomized study. Thankfully, COVID mortality went down for 3 reasons. Because we all got the infection, vaccinated and unvaccinated, so we developed population natural immunity. We developed early treatment. Credit to Operation Warp Speed. We used all the Operation Warp Speed tools, additional drugs. We treated patients with multi-drug protocols at home so they don't go to the ER. So Governor Green never saw the patients we treated because they were successfully treated at home. And the third reason is that the virus mutated to a much milder form.
The White House, not just the federal government, but the White House actively coerced every major social media platform in America. Let me say that again. Every major social media platform in America to ban speech that the White House did not like. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about speech on the COVID-19 pandemic, speech on the 2022 congressional elections, speech related to mask mandates, speech related to vaccines. What did the White House do? Well, over a period of years, they met with, on a regular basis, the leaders of social media companies and demanded that the speech they did not like be taken down. They further demanded that these same social media companies amplify the White House's speech. Amazing. So take down all of this speech that we don't like, amplify our own speech. Unbelievable. What kind of speech are we talking about? Well, for example, not just public officials, but parents. Here's an example from my state, the state of Missouri. I'm reading you from the opinion here. One parent who posted on Nixdoor.com, which is a site operated by Facebook, posted an online petition to encourage his school to remain mask optional, found that his posts were removed without notifying him, and his friends never saw them. Another parent in the same school district who objected to mask mandates for school children responded to Dr. Fauci on Twitter and promptly received a warning from Twitter that his account would be banned if he did not delete the tweets criticizing Dr. Fauci's approach to mask mandates. These objections, amazingly, this censorship was taken at the direct behest of the federal government, the direct behest of the Biden administration. Professor Knox, is this a violation of the First Amendment?
Only a judge can make that determination.
And a judge has. I'm glad you said that. Multiple judges. The district court, federal district court, said there was a direct First Amendment violation. Court of Appeals unanimously, 3-judge panel unanimously said direct First Amendment violation. I can't think of another time in American history when the President of the United States, and I say that advisedly because the record reflects that White House officials were sending emails and communications to these companies saying that the President himself wanted the censorship. So you've got the government doing exactly what Professor Knox said is not permitted under the First Amendment, directly coercing the speech of private parties, and not just one or two authors, but parents all across the country, unprecedented in the history of this nation. So I'm glad we're having this hearing today. I hope that we will have more like it to expose the censorship happening at the highest levels of our government.
Throughout history, Islam has demonstrated through words and deeds the possibilities of religious tolerance and racial equality.
This is a story you won't hear from the mainstream media. The grave consequences of haphazard migrant policies playing out in Western schoolyards. Syrian migrant students throwing rocks at their Canadian peers, beating up the girls in their classrooms, uttering death threats to teachers who don't believe in Allah. It's time we have a conversation in this country. It's time we stop ignoring children who are being beaten and threatened at a place where they should feel safe. It's time we stop making exceptions for abuse against Canadian girls just because their perpetrators are from a particular part of the world. And it's time we stop allowing political correctness to put our children in harm's way.
I want the world to look into what happened to Sweden and not follow in our steps. However, the problem is that many of the people who are coming here are not humble towards the fact that they are getting help from the taxpayers. There are too many people who never get employed. Too many people bring crime, spit in the face of Swedes, and live on the taxpayers' money. Sweden doesn't owe it to the world to save the less fortunate by bringing them here and letting young criminals burn this country down. Politicians are talking about hot food being too expensive for the elders, and they can wear blankets to justify lowering the heat in the elders' home because the municipalities can't afford to take care of them. At the same time that we are paying for people that never give back, we are spitting the elders in the face, the people who built this country. The people who have worked all their lives get worse treatment than the criminals burning cars who keep getting paid by the system.
But in parts of France, it has become especially dangerous to be white. There are little Muslim caliphates inside the borders of France. The name of the mosque is in Arabic, so perhaps the French don't realize they're paying to renovate a mosque named Conquest. So this is like another country inside France, yeah? Yeah. This French report says almost 1 in 5 Frenchmen have been victims of racist insults or worse.
A newspaper poll suggested that the white French population in Parisian slums were afraid to take a metro ride home after dark.
Do you think you need fewer immigrants or more immigrants in London? I've no hesitation at all in saying we need more migrants in London.
In the UK, almost 1 in 4, more than 15 million people now live below the poverty line.
The Quran, which incidentally, if you read, demonstrates Islam is a peaceful and harmonious religion.
Gunmen stormed the Westgate Mall on a busy Saturday. Brandishing AK-47s and handguns, they cornered shoppers. Those who couldn't prove they were Muslim were shot.
Adrian Nell was in Mozambique building an accommodation block with his father and younger brother, but he was killed on Friday as they tried to make their escape from a hotel under attack by suspected Islamist insurgents. News of his death reached the rest of his family in South Africa a day later. Nearly 200 civilians were sheltering inside the hotel in the town of Palmer after militants surrounded the compound. Helicopters could be heard circling above, but a convoy of cars was deemed the only route out. In total, 7 were killed when it was ambushed and dozens more in the town itself.
A Somali attacker who made references to Allah stabbed and wounded 9 people inside a mall in Minnesota. The attacker, who was shot dead by an off-duty police officer, asked at least one victim if they were Muslim.
Of the 44,000 terrorist attacks since 9/11, ladies and gentlemen, 90% have been claimed by radical Islam. Exactly that. There are an estimated 40,500 Islamists on MI5's terror watch list. There are 2,179 mosques in the United Kingdom. That's 18 Islamists for every mosque. There are 80 prescribed terrorist organisations in Britain. 57 of them, 70% of the prescribed terrorist groups in the UK are Islamist. Muslims make up 6% of the population, but make up 18% of prison inmates. There are roughly 100 Sharia law courts operating in Britain. It is time to wake up to...
I don't want to interrupt your family, and I hope you're having a lovely afternoon, but you shouldn't have to cover your faces, especially if he doesn't.
Did you tell him?
Yeah.